So what an interesting life you have had, from being a talented tennis player to being an oil explorer and a historian and an author, and now you're part of a motion picture directed by George Clooney. How do you feel about all this?
Amazing. It's a remarkable life. Three lives really now from a career standpoint. But this one's been the one that's by far the most meaningful and the one that's important to me. I mean, I've given 15, 16 years of my life to this, the last 13 full-time. This group of men and women, museum directors, curators, art historians, artists themselves, middle-aged, that have life made, families, kids, and they walk away from all this to go into war to try and save all these works of art, and yet we never knew who they were. And so it's been my mission, both as a writer of this book, but more so kind of as a messenger, to share this great story, the most interesting story I've ever heard, with the worldwide audience, and who better to do it with than George Clooney, this incredible cast.
Kind of the dream right there.
Absolutely.
So what was your reaction when Clooney and team called you and said, we would like to adapt this into a film?
It was a great moment of the degree of obsessiveness a writer goes through, because I was finishing the last chapter of my third book, The Saving Italy, which came out last year, a New York Times bestseller about what the Monuments Men did just in Italy. And I remember saying to my agent, well, you know, I'm too busy, I'm focused on this. And she said, Robert, this is George Clooney I'm talking about. And it's like, God, what in the world's going on with me? But I was really excited, because I realized what that was going to mean for the mission that we've been on. And I was out in California really less than a month later with George and Grant for a week, going over so much of the material that's in the book, but even more that's not, telling them stories that I'd picked up from interviewing the 17 monuments officers that I've known. And it was just the beginning of what's been a fantastic collaboration over the last 2 years.
So now this all kind of started in Florence, and I lived in Italy as well. I had great pride for it. Was there one piece of art in particular that kind of ignited this whole, you know, interesting quest to find out more about how they came to be there and everything?
It wasn't a work of art as much as it was a place. Living in Florence, I was walking across the Ponte Vecchio one day, the only bridge in the city that wasn't destroyed by the Nazis when they fled in August 1944, and I wondered, if so much of the works of art survived in Europe in the face of 65 million people who didn't, who were the people that saved it, and why don't we know who they are? And I didn't know what the answer was. In fact, I wasn't embarrassed I didn't know the answer, but I was hugely embarrassed. It had never occurred to me to wonder, and it set me off on this journey that now brings us to this place where the excitement is great. I mean, the Monuments Men's been translated into 30 some odd languages, but the film is going to provide an opportunity for people all over the world to know these great people's story, and I'm really excited for them to see it.
Now, I know they took certain liberties with your book, which always happens with adaptations on the big screen. Were you nervous at all that some of what you and your partner wrote, you know, were going to be left out, some important things?
Well, there always have to be some things that are excluded, and there have to be adjustments, especially when you're telling a story that covers such a broad historical range, and geographically too. I think they made good compromises. I think a truthful telling of exactly what took place, where there are adjustments. Look, buy the book and read the book. All the gory details are in there. But I felt it was more important, and I know Grant and George did too. Look, this is an entertainment piece. This is a chance for people to go and be excited, be really an uplifting story about World War II, which we don't have many that are that we're usually dealing with the horrors of war, and certainly there were plenty of those here. But here's a chance for people to go and see man at his best, very noble behavior by men and women that are selfless and trying to do something good.
Could you have dreamed up a better ensemble? John Goodman, Bill Murray, Matt Damon, George Clooney, like on and on and on.
Hugh Bonneville, Bob Balaban. No, I mean, dream cast, that sounds trite, but it absolutely is. And the thing is that I think everyone knows, these actors are the best of the best. They're at the top of their game. They can do whatever they want to do, and they wanted to do this film because George called and they understood the importance of it. And I think it speaks well and really is a great legacy and testament to the Monuments Men and the service that they did, because I know all these actors to the person said to me, we never heard this story. George and Grant hadn't heard it, and they were so excited about being the ones to bring it to the great big screen, and it'll be part of their legacy now.
I had no idea, and I've been to a lot of these places all around the world, so it makes me appreciate just how they came to be. And why do you think AMC theater audiences are going to enjoy this movie?
Well, it's a story about World War II that we don't know about, and when you consider 70 years later the most documented photographed event in World War II history, and yet broad audiences aren't familiar with the story, it's hard to believe something like that could exist. But here it is, and everyone's going to have a chance to see it and see some of the great actors doing what they do so well.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We can't have it on our screens.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.